Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to work with the phase sensor in Priora and Kalina cars. We'll cover how to diagnose problems, test the sensor itself, and even go through the process of replacing it if needed. I'll be explaining everything step by step, so even if you're a complete beginner, you'll be able to follow along. Let's get started. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the world of VAZ cars, specifically the Priora and Kalina models, and focusing on a crucial component, the phase sensor. Many of you have asked about this, so let's get right to it. First off, let's talk about where this little guy is actually located. Now, finding the phase sensor on a Priora or Kalina isn't exactly a walk in the park, but with a little guidance, it's totally manageable. You'll find it nestled snugly on the engine block, usually near the crankshaft pulley. It's a relatively small component, often cylindrical in shape, and it's usually attached with ONE or TWO bolts. Don't be afraid to get your hands a little dirty, sometimes a little bit of cleaning around the area can make it easier to spot. Remember, safety first. Always disconnect the negative terminal of your battery before you start fiddling around with any engine components. Take your time, and if you're unsure about anything, it's always best to consult your owner's manual or seek professional help. There are plenty of helpful diagrams and pictures online too, so don't hesitate to use those resources. Next, let's talk about the phase sensor itself. What kind are we dealing with here on these Priora and Kalina models? Well, it's important to understand that the exact type of phase sensor can vary slightly depending on the year of manufacture and specific engine configuration. However, generally speaking, you're likely to encounter a fairly standard inductive type sensor. These sensors work by detecting the position of the crankshaft, sending that information to the engine control unit, ECU. This information is absolutely vital for precise ignition timing and fuel injection. A faulty phase sensor can lead to a whole host of problems, from rough idling and poor fuel economy to complete engine failure. So, keeping an eye on its condition is crucial for maintaining your vehicle's health. You might find the part number stamped on the sensor itself, which can be helpful when ordering a replacement. Finally, let's briefly touch on replacing the phase sensor. Now, this isn't a job for the faint of heart, and it's definitely something that requires a bit of mechanical aptitude. Before you even think about starting, make sure you have the correct replacement part. Again, that part number is your friend here. Once you have the new sensor, the process generally involves disconnecting the sensor's electrical connector, carefully removing the mounting bolts, and then installing the new sensor in the exact same position. Remember to double-check everything before reconnecting the battery and starting the engine. If you're not comfortable doing this yourself, it's always best to take your car to a qualified mechanic. A simple mistake during the replacement process could lead to further damage, so it's better to be safe than sorry. And remember, always refer to your owner's manual for specific instructions relevant to your vehicle's model and year. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into something crucial for your Priora or Kalina, the phase sensor. We'll cover what happens when it goes bad, and then we'll tackle how to replace it. Let's get started. First off, let's talk about those pesky phase sensor faults. You might notice a few things if yours is on its way out. The engine might be struggling to start, maybe cranking over and over without firing up. Or, once it's running, you might experience rough idling, a noticeable lack of power, or even a complete engine stall. Sometimes, the check engine light will illuminate, giving you a clear warning. It's important to remember that these symptoms aren't always exclusive to a bad phase sensor, other issues can cause similar problems. But if you're experiencing a combination of these, it's definitely worth checking your phase sensor. Think about it: a misfire here or there, a hesitation when accelerating, or that persistent rough idle. These are all potential signs that your phase sensor needs attention. Don't ignore these warning signs. A faulty phase sensor can lead to more serious engine damage if left unaddressed. We are talking potentially expensive repairs down the line. So, it's always best to diagnose and address the problem early. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of replacing the phase sensor. First things first, you'll need a few tools. A socket wrench, a few different sized sockets, possibly a ratchet extension, and of course, a new phase sensor. Make sure you get the correct one for your specific Priora or Kalina model. Before you start, disconnect the negative terminal of your battery. This is a crucial safety step to prevent any accidental shorts or damage to your vehicle's electrical system. Safety first, always. Locate the phase sensor. It's usually found on the engine block near the crankshaft pulley. It's a relatively small component, often with a single electrical connector. Once you've located it, carefully disconnect the electrical connector. You might need to gently pry it apart, just be careful not to damage the connector itself. Next, use the appropriate socket to carefully remove the sensor from the engine block. There might be a little resistance, so take your time and don't force anything. Now, carefully install the new phase sensor, making sure it's seated correctly. Tighten it securely using the socket wrench, but don't over-tighten. Once it's in place, reconnect the electrical connector. Remember to reconnect the negative battery terminal. Now, you can try starting your engine. If everything went smoothly, your engine should start and run much better. If you still have issues, there might be another underlying problem, so it's always a good idea to get a professional diagnosis if you're unsure. Replacing the phase sensor is a relatively straightforward job, but remember, if you're not comfortable working on your car, it's always best to take it to a qualified mechanic. Improper installation can lead to further damage, so proceed with caution. And that's it for today's video. Remember to like and subscribe for more helpful car maintenance tips. Thanks for watching.